The things that Violet's done can never go away. That's something that she's going to have to hold on to for the rest of her life. But the things she's currently doing as a doll, writing letters and seriously helping people, so far, like within these 9 episodes, we've seen her help so many people in so many brilliant ways, inspiring people to travel the world and just mending broken families. Those things also won't go away. And what a fitting way to end episode 9 of Violet Evergarden. I have to say, this episode, it pulled on my heartstrings. It actually made me feel quite a lot. Violet's voice actress needs to get a round of applause because her voice acting and the animation just tied her character. You truly felt like this was a real person broken and shattered after learning the news that the one that she cares about the most, in her mind, is never going to come back, and she no longer has orders to live her life. And I think this is a very interesting episode, because I stick by what I said. I don't think Gilbert's dead. I know there is one of the previews that I think aired before the show started shows Gilbert in an eye patch and things like that, so I think that definitely does support the idea that Gilbert isn't dead. But granted, someone could argue, well, maybe that's just a vision she's going to have, similar to the vision that she had in her dream, where she saw Gilbert on the stairs kind of insulting her, saying that how could you write letters with your blood-stained hands. But I think definitely the eye patch is going to play a factor in the future. But the entire idea of this episode was really highlighting how broken Violet is, knowing that she no longer has orders because that's all she ever knew. Everyone always insulted Violet. Everyone thought she was nothing but a ruthless killer, but the one person who never looked at her like a tool was Gilbert. The person who wanted her to be a normal girl and after the war not have to fight, just have a normal life. That's why he made plans that if anything happened to me, make sure you take care of her and make sure she gets a normal life. And I think it was so interesting seeing how Violet reacted, because she's trying to convince herself this isn't possible, what am I supposed to do? She even tries to strangle herself but ends up stopping because she doesn't feel like she's worthy of life. She feels like she does have these bloodstained hands. The burns that she kind of hid away and never really looked at are now starting to eat away at her, and she doesn't think she's worthy of trying to write for people, have this like beautiful job, when all her life she was a ruthless killer. And I thought it was so interesting and so perfectly paced throughout this episode, because you really got a sense of where Violet was in relation to the prior episodes, the way she was reacting and isolating herself away, the fact that she goes back to the site where she was found at the bottom of the stairs when Gilbert pushed her away to save her life, everything about her trying to dig up the stones, trying to find his body, it was so heartbreaking, but you also really got a sense of what this episode was going for, and it was supposed to shape her into being able to live a life without orders, something that she's never ever done. And I think this is why Gilbert wouldn't come back into her life if he truly is alive, like I think he is. Because really, if Gilbert was to come back into her life right now, say he's perfectly functioning, he has an eye patch, he has some robotic limbs, if he came back into her life, would Violet truly be a person, or would she just go back to the way she was? Basically a lapdog waiting to take orders from someone that she cares about. I definitely feel like this episode sets it up as Violet is finally taking the steps in her life to try to live a life of her own, one without relying on Gilbert coming back to give her orders, something that she's going to try and do. And I don't think Gilbert's going to come back until he thinks or he believes that Violet is living a life of her own, and that he's not going to be scared that coming back into her life is going to revert her back to who she once was, really just a shell waiting for orders. That's my theory anyway, and I'm actually very confident in this one. I feel like everything that we know of Violet, just seeing the way she was when her arms literally got blown off, and I have to say, the way they animated it, it was very subtle because you really got the movement underneath her clothing when her arm was literally being separated from the other part of it. It was very gruesome, but she never reacted. She only cared about Gilbert. This was a girl who had no value of her own life. She only cared about him. So if he truly is awake, maybe he is in a coma or something like that, but if he's truly awake and doesn't want people to know that he's alive for Violet's sake, it would make sense. This is a girl who didn't even show a reaction, never even showed a reaction to the murder she caused to people, not to mention the pain upon her own body. This is someone who truly loved and cared for Violet and wants her to have a normal life, and I think this is the reason that he's supposedly dead in this series. Granted, some of the characters might, maybe all the characters believe he's dead too, just for her sake, but it's really hard to tell the full direction they're going to go. But I'm pretty confident in saying, just with the idea this episode was going for, the idea that it was presenting that Violet is someone who can't live without orders, but at the very end of the episode, it starts seeming like she's going to start taking that step forward living a life without those orders, that would make total sense on why Gilbert is supposedly dead in the eyes of the public, all for her sake, and based on how much he cared, everything that we know about the flashbacks and the way he acted with Violet, it would absolutely make sense and line up, and that's my theory, and I'm sticking with it. I could be completely proven wrong, maybe he truly is dead, maybe the eye patch Gilbert is just going to be in a dream sequence, but that's my idea, I'm sticking to it. But I have to say, the growth and development of Violet, yes, at times it has felt a little too fast-paced with how fast she got with letters and how her name got out there, but holy crap, the past few episodes, really seeing Violet's world get shattered and starting to be rebuilt. She's accepting the fact that she is someone who lived a life that isn't something to be proud of, but she currently is living a life that she can be proud of and that she can work towards, and her voice actors, all the voice actors in this episode were remarkable, and I just love the eeriness and just the gloominess that this episode delivered. Like, seriously, Violet Evergarden is continuing to wow me. It's why it's my anime of the season here. I love The Ancient Magus' Bride, but that's a carryover, so I'm separating it here. But Violet Evergarden, seriously, the character development has been phenomenal in my books, and I know not everyone feels the same way, but I love it. I come up here every week praising it because I feel like it deserves the praise that I'm giving it. Let me know your thoughts. What did you think of this episode? Where do you think Violet's going to go starting next week? We got 5 episodes left because this is going to be a 14-episode series. Can't wait to see where it's going to go, so let me know your thoughts. And before you leave, smack that like button, share your support. If you need channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.